You like that?
It don't matter to me. I'll be chilling, bro.
No, I'm saying, let me lean back so you can see my sweater.
Oh my man. You,
Just
you see how my
outside.
you see how I practice my eyesight, my visual to just blur those,
It's all right, it's lonely on the top. I tell you that.
it's got to be, bro. This is gonna be the second year. But anyway, we're gonna get into it. You are now tuned in to another episode of whyuce podcast. Today we have Pastor Sasa here with us, joining us this evening. Good to have you again, Pastor.
Glad to be on the platform. Thank you.
I don't even know what you call this in the podcast world. The host that I be with, that's the way that it's going to flow, or it's going to roll.
I'm actually traveling out up to Compton this week to share the word in Compton City. I was invited by the church to come up there and share God's word with them. When you mentioned Compton, you talk about the rivalry that came with it, political side of things, and Compton is the hood, all right. Well, I don't know, but great things came out of Compton too. You have the Williams that play
Serena
tennis.
Williams, yep, and whatever her other sister, yep.
And let's say, Compton was part of the city that a lot of poverty was, right? And I don't know about now, but just thinking about the music that came out of Compton. So it made me thought about this, what I'm about to share this coming weekend. It comes from the book of James, and the book of James talks about what is causing the quarrels and fights among us. And do they come from evil desires? Where does it come from, right? And where those differences are, because oftentimes, like us Samoans, we're passionate. We use that very lightly, but really the question is, does it come from the evil desires that war within us? I was listening to this one scholar, and he says, when you squeeze an orange, what do you think is going to come out of when you squeeze an orange?
Juice from the orange. Or the citrus, should they say.
Okay, do you think a mango juice comes out of the orange when you squeeze the orange?
A mango juice coming out of an actual orange? No.
Why is that? It's illogical, right, for us to say something like that, right? It has to be orange. No matter how you squeeze it, blend it, it's just one juice that will come out of it. It's just orange juice, right?
Yes, I see what you, okay.
Yep. Okay. Now, then he goes to expand the idea to a human perspective and how when somebody squeezes you, when somebody mistreats you and put dirt on your name and anger and all this want to fight, now you're building up defensively. You want whatever that person does to you that brings that outside of character out of you, that's inside of you the entire time.
So are you saying that that's normal? Like it wouldn't even be a trigger?
Here's another, in the contrary to that idea. The contrary is this: when the Holy Spirit is sanctuary in your heart, because the fruit of the Spirit is fruit, love, patience, long-suffering, kindness, meekness, gentleness, right? Jesus says it is to your advantage that I must go away, and the Spirit of God comes and lives inside of you. Your temple of is a place for the Holy Spirit to dwell. And then all these fruits start bearing in your heart. And when people tend to squeeze you, what comes out of it? It has to be Holy Spirit fruits. Forgiveness comes out.
Correct.
Now that's the difference between a natural man and a spiritual man. We come out of, we were all raised differently in environments. We all carry packages, but at the same time, when we begin to apply information without transformation, it's just information.
That's valid. Yep.
Right?
Yes. Information without transformation is just information.
It's just information. if you just give me the benefits of living healthy, and I know everything about living healthy, eat your vitamins, the nutrients in your body, work out and exercise. And if I don't apply it in my life, then it's just information in my head. Right? So I can boast about my knowledge, but it doesn't. And there's a saying out there, when you share a presentation, if necessary, use words. See, that's some deep stuff right there. I don't know if you follow that one. I just said some deep stuff right there.
When you use a presentation, it is
when
necessary.
when you share a good word, if necessary, use words. What does that imply?
Use words. So it's, I don't know. What are you getting at with this?
See, that's why I say, man, you just missed it. Just went over. This just went over. It says when you preach a sermon, if necessary, use words. Meaning it implies this idea. We need to begin to apply the word in our life. We need to embody the word and cut this down a little bit. You know what I mean? You get it? No, you get it.
It sounds well. When you said it initially,
yeah.
When you say that one more time, what you were saying, like when you preach the word or when you're sharing the good word.
Yeah, good word or preach the word.
So when you're sharing a good word, from what I take what you were saying is, when you're saying a good word, it is necessary to
if necessary, use words to illustrate your points. But the main idea is live it out.
Gotcha. Actions
speak louder than words. Yes. So
correct.
So the idea is we're like people filled with so much knowledge now. We have so much technology in front of us. Informations are in front of us. We are bombarded with information day in, day out. But the question is, are we applying these information to us? Everyone has to answer that question, when they wake up. We have a lot of books, audio books. We have YouTube reviews. We have YouTube University of YouTube. We have social media platforms, Facebook. People are quoting things. We have so much information in front of us, but now the problem becomes it's just a quotable information and without any transformation. So that's the idea about what I'm going to share.
Man,
this coming weekend is because we have so much information, but none of them are. We're not seeing fruits of transformation in our hearts. So we need to get back to the basic principles of living out these information and applying it to, and here's the research. It says the learning pyramid. When you listen, you only can retain 5% of it. When you read information, you retain 10% of information. When you listen and read, you retain 20% of it. But when you demonstrate, you retain 20% of it. When you discuss that same information, you retain 50%. When you apply, you retain 75%. And when you teach it to others and live it out, you retain 90%. What that means is it becomes your lifestyle. Once it becomes your lifestyle, you retain that, you embody it.
Pastor, have you ever heard of the acronym SOAP, SOAP?
No.
So S is for scripture. O is the next letter, which is observation. You observe. What is your observation according to the scripture? A is apply. P is pray. So scripture, observation, application, and pray. Kind of like what you just said. That's what came to mind. It's like you said, even the whole part of knowledge without transformation, there's no point of it.
It's just pure information. And the idea is we belong in a community. However, if disagree or agree to the idea, you belong to a community. And the community, whether you're in a family setting, that's a community right there. And if we belong to a church, you're going to see community, right?
Yes.
This is how you're going to exercise your spiritual walk, is when you belong to a community where they test you out on a day in, day out, right? And it helps you strengthens your blind spots as well. A blind spots meaning if sometimes, well, let me tell you, some of the people, I don't mention any names, but some people they tend to throw some disrespectful words, but I just smile and just move on, because it doesn't faze me, because I learned to be content with good and bad. It comes with the lifestyle of the calling that I'm in. Some people, when they use implications and like those sideways messages, they come at you to kind of attack you, but you just smile and say, "All right, thank you, thank you, thank you," and move forward. But really, it's not you. It's just the person is dealing with something. Now, the text says, "Is it the evil desire that's in you when you're being squeezed and all that comes out?" We need to start addressing the things, the matter of the heart, the stuff that's happening inside of us, the bitterness. And like you said, the trauma that comes with the package that we lived out throughout our life, we never let go of. Have you ever heard the saying, say, your past are not your sentence, they are your lessons?
Yes,
right?
I heard of that. Correct.
Right? So you remember that you have sometimes people often bring their past to try to identify themselves, use up every past to say, well, because of that, I'm like this.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
you can still write your own story. The moment you wake up every morning, you have a pen in front of you to write your story, the narrative of life. God has made you so special, so different from everyone else. It's just we're so unique. You write your own story. Don't try to be somebody. You're unique in your own ways. And you're watching football and you're talking to me at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Who, me? Are you accusing me of watching something else?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at you. You're like going back and forth with your eye, it's like, and then you're reading something.
No, it's the screen.
What?
I'm watching us from the way my screen is set up. I wish I can just turn this around so you can see but I can't because it's a MacBook. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm watching this, I have us, I have the screen minimized, and I'm taking exactly what you're saying, man. So what you're saying is, if we are the way we are inside, if we need to, what we take in should be some positive stuff, or in other words, spiritual stuff, because that's what's going to come out, when people do lash. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, there's another study that came out of Harvard, right? And I don't want to just make this just pure opinions, right? There's a study that came out of Harvard about the brain, right? Everyone has a brain. Now, have you ever, like, oftentimes, have you ever asked the question, why are some of these 50-year-old guys act like little kids? Ever come across those people? Yeah, okay, but never stop to ask. You never bothered to ask the question, like, why? And then you have like some of these like 19 or maybe 22-year-old kid that's so mature for their age, right? Man, that kid is so mature for his age. He talks like a 40-year-old, but he's only like 22. You know why? Because the studies came out, because our brains, it's like a tummy. When you feed it so much, it just tends to expand, right? So when you feed it, when you're young and you feed your brain with quality information, the moment you speak, the moment the world knows how qualitative you are. But in the same manner, if you don't feed your brain with something, the moment you open your mouth, people are like, sounds like that guy doesn't read at all. He's making up all kinds of stuff. That's why it's important to feed our brain with qualitative stuff, because it helps us communicate effectively. It helps us articulate information. Now, were we born with these? No, man, we have to continue on the daily basis to feed our minds, our hearts about qualitative information, good information, in order for us to grow mentally. I just want to make sure I get my point across. That's why I'm using different perspective to come here. Why do you think corporation pay people $15, $20 an hour? Do they pay you for what you deserve?
They pay you for your value.
Let's say they pay you $20 for your value, right? Now, you go back and do some education and do all of that. You come back the same hour. Now they pay you, let's say, $150 or $200 for the same hour because they know they're much more valuable. In that same hour, did you know other people are getting paid $80,000 in 1 hour? It's the same hour. But you know why? Because they are valuable. They're very valuable. And it comes down to this. The greatest gift God has given us is our brain. The more we feed our brain with good quality information, we become valuable to the society. So your time is more worth more. Because here, like the Coca-Cola, like Ron Jim says this. If you look at the Coca-Cola guy, he gets paid like, let's say, $80 million. But do you know how much the company generates off of that guy?
Billions.
Billions because of his brain. So he makes $80 million. That's his value. But the company makes $1 billion because of his brain. So that tells us it's important to feed our inside good information out there in order for us to be more marketable, more qualitative, and more worth, more valuable. Now, maybe next time you'll get called to be sitting on the Kelsey show only because you're valuable like that. It comes down to being fed, with good stuff.
Okay, so when you're saying, again, just to rephrase so I understand what you're saying is, it's important what Puni Moa gets himself what he reads. Like reading into. When you say getting fed, we're talking about mental wise. So we're talking about the books, or even television stuff that we watch, even the music. I mean, all that, just consuming myself surrounded by stuff that will benefit me. Like, for example,
I'm sorry. I want to make sure before you finish, I didn't refer to music and TV when I say that. Mm-hmm. The difference is this: when you watch TV and listen to music, it bypasses your frontal lobe. It goes into the subconscious.
What you're trying to say is study shows that what you just said.
Study shows, because when you listen to music, it changes your mood because it plays your subconscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
It's different. It's not the same. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Good.
But when you read a book, you're oftentimes when you read a book, you get tired. You know why? Because your mind is
not interested.
Yeah. Well, it's not interest, but your mind is constantly moving. And then when you're mentally exhausted from reading, then you just want to take a quick nap because your mind is moving. The frontal lobe is moving, trying to understand ideas and stuff like that. I just wanted to point that out before.
No, that's good you said that. That's good you said that because I experienced that growing up and just to where I'm at. There are times where if I'm just reading, like it could be online, just reading like the news and just focusing on my 49ers who are not doing very well so far. I'm consumed up within that week, and that's all I'm just reading. Now my mind and my soul was just all about irritation because the team that I am rooting for is not going accordingly to what the expectation was supposed to be. Yeah. So because of me reading into that, when people talk, I'm lashing out, but it had nothing to do with them. It just has everything to do with my 49ers. I'm just throwing out examples, because, sometimes it does happen. There are times, too, where you were saying, like, knowledge. As you know, I recently was held up in the hospital, like had a minor heart attack. And the doctors gave me advice on what to consume, food-wise. Am I doing that right now? No, I'm not. So I see myself physically. It's tough, and I'm trying to find an excuse of why I'm not doing it. I'm using the fact that we're in the hotel, we're in the process of moving, that we're just eating out because that's what we're getting. But in our reality, that's not the truth. I still got to be disciplined. And saying what you're saying is like giving me guilt trips of like, okay, Puni Moa, all I'm doing is just giving excuses. I need to do right. in the physical way, and I'm just talking about in general, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Not spiritual wise. Like if I want to stay healthy and lose weight, and look good on the podcast, because I do want to do that, I got to go back into taking the information, the knowledge that I received, and then also reading more upon it instead of just, slacking away. It makes sense what you're saying because I don't do a lot of reading anymore. Unless I'm into something, then I'll read into that.
Yeah.
But lately, I'm in a transition of moving, as you know. Me and my family, we're right now residents of hotels until we find our, a permanent home to stay at in this state that we live at. So the time being, I'm just watching TVs, watching social media, and not really feeding my mind and reading into whether it's
Something,
health or
yeah,
something positive. So
something positive.
that's I can see the value of what you're saying, Pastor. That's all I'm saying. At the end of the day.
Man, now it's funny you say that because I had a pastor friend of mine that came and did the revival for my church this past week, right? And we had a long late night dinner with everyone, with all the other pastor friends that came down, drove from Compton, drove from the other side, East Oceanside. So we met up, and then after the late night snack, and they asked me, "What are we gonna do tomorrow?" I was like, "I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna go play pickleball."
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "What? Aren't you gonna be tired after tonight?" I was like, "Nah, man, it's my lifestyle." I was like, "Aren't you gonna, invite?" I was like, "Nah, man. I'm just so used to it, only because I wanted this to be a lifestyle."
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. There's a lady by the name of Caroline Leaf. She does cleaning up your mental health. Cleaning up your mental health is really a great book to read. And she talks about that, about the way our brain is wired. That, when you want to start something, you start something by the third or the fourth day. I think it was the third or the fourth or the fourth or the fifth. Then your withdrawal kicks in. Do you want to go back to your to go back to the way you're used to?
The norm, yeah.
Yeah, to the norm, because you're fighting. Have you seen, when you go to Samoa and then you try to go to the plantation, right? Have you ever done that?
Yep,
Try to go to the plantation. And you notice, and here's the example. Perfect example is this. If you try to go, let's say you go with your uncle to your plantation and they're like 2 miles away in the bushes, right? Mm-hmm. They tend to take the same route there, same route back. They don't take any routes but the same route there, same route back. You know why?
Why?
Because the route is already paved. You see, like, the trees are broken and it's already on the ground.
It's
it's already paved because they cut it down.
Footsteps.
You step on it so many times
that it
to the
fades
point
away.
where it just created a pathway for you.
Yes, a pathway. Nice.
And here's the thing. And she goes, exactly the same idea with your brain. Your pathway of bad habits, it's already paved. One way there, one way back.
Yeah.
But when you start a new habit, you have to cut it with the machete. You have to cut down a lot of stuff to try to create. So while you're cutting that down, you look at the way that you already paved, looking at it over and over and over. It's like, why am I cutting these things down when I can just hop over on this old path and just cruise right over?
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, she says, I think it was like 82%, oftentimes, people would just hop off after the fourth or the fifth day and live the same lifestyle again and again. But if you continue on with the new lifestyle and just keep cutting it down with create a new path in your brain, eventually you're going to pave a new way for you. And that's a healthy way.
And muscle memory too. I mean, I remember reading to a scientist, they said muscle memory.
That's the word for it, muscle memory, but I'm trying to create it from a plantation point of view.
From a coconut perspective, which is good.
Yeah.
Because this show is about catering to all the listeners of WHYuce out there. That's a good thing that you put it that way, Pastor, because some of our group listeners are not educated. Not that I'm saying as far as like Some of them, like myself, I was one of them too, that didn't enjoy reading a book. It took
Mhm.
me 30 years before I decided to actually read a book.
Yeah.
And did I finish that book? No, I haven't, but it's almost there, but it's
But don't feel bad. A lot of people are not educated on that. And I say this with the compassion, because here's the thing: if you look at my library of books, I have so many books. I buy books. When I see something that I'm into, I buy it. Does that mean I finish it? No, because I have so many books. I just read into it, and then I want to hop on a new book, and then I find myself like half this book, half this book. But I'm not on anybody's clock. I'm just trying to train my mind. As long as you're reading something on John Maxwell puts it this way. John Maxwell puts it this way: if all you read is sports, let's say 20 minutes a day, you read about sports, you're gonna be an analyst in the fifth week, by the fifth year.
Talk heavy. Yep.
Yeah. So whatever you do, if the idea is to feeding our brain with positive information, eventually you're gonna be valuable by the fifth year. So 20 minutes a day you can read whatever. That's why I have so many books I'm reading. See, I'll show you. I have this book right here. I didn't finish. There's so many books. The Victory Walk, right? Does that mean I finish it? No. I just read, and then I want to read something else. I'll jump on reading something else. And I buy books on Kindles too for it's about reading. Does that mean I love reading? No, man, it's a habit that I developed, man. Nobody likes any someone doesn't like reading.
No, I know. I was an advocate of those that are against it, even education. And the main reason why is because I felt like it was just my own personal opinion. I just felt like it wasn't relevant to me, and it was just somebody else trying to tell me how to live my life. And like we had on a conversation before we recorded, I feel like being raised in the ministry it also taught me confidence in self, because the only one I can rely on was God. Like, as long as I got Jesus on my side, I'm good. It built me the confidence where in my life, whatever that I was doing, I was so confident that it was going to work out for the best. And I laugh at it. And I told you earlier, I was like, it seems like the decisions that I was making, though, the problem was the decisions of the stuff I found interesting wasn't beneficial. You know what I'm saying? So like, because whatever I put my mind into or heart to it, I was confident in manifesting it that it's going to happen because of the way I was brought up by the teaching of Christ, of Himself, and believing in Him. Like, oh, I'm just going to pray, have faith, and I'm going to do it and be a doer, have a positive attitude. But that's not necessarily true. Like what we talked about, it's okay. Knowledge is key in this world that we live in. But if you want to get ahead, and I'm not trying to promote that, man, entrepreneur is the way, or, like financial freedom is the way. Would we want that? Yes, I would love to have that.
Yeah.
But, your card is dealt from the way from the time you started becoming a young adult and making your decision. I am at where I'm at because of the decision I made when I was like 17 years old, all the way till now. Am I complaining? No, I just got to move forward and start making new moves, for the muscle memory. Because like I said, it wasn't that long ago that I was held up in the hospital for a minor heart attack. And I know now I got to live a new lifestyle as far as health goes for eating. And then also when it comes to like career wise and in my marriage and just family alone, there's things I got to change, to get into a better place.
Smoking now, huh?
Yeah. And I was trying to use that as an excuse too. Oh, I'm eating a lot because I don't smoke. But it goes against what you were just saying too, because I believe that. No, it's not. It's just an excuse, Kenny. You just need to just stop eating. Like the doctor said, eat. There are right things to eat. Long story short, food is just something to give us energy. But I used to use it as a god.
So you don't smoke anymore?
No. When did I get held up? It's been a month or two, I think, that I've since my incident in the hospital. Maybe a month. I've been smoking for a month now. Yeah.
So you just don't miss it, right?
No, I do. But it's the muscle memory. Like you said, it's a perfect example of the what was it? The almanga. How you say that in English? Plantation. It's seeing that pave, that one I've already walked and paid. I still see that on the back end, but I know that as long as I stick to not smoking and trying out new things by going to the gym, by even doing what you're doing. I literally last night was looking up and I found there is a pickleball community out here and there's a gym for it because I really want to get into pickleball because I am competitive. I don't want not only that your egos is kicking my behind, then we play and that's going to happen too. You know what I'm saying? I'm all, I changed my mindset. It's all about winning. Yeah. It's a family love competition,
Yeah. It's all about winning with love, right?
Winning with love, man. And it's empowering. It's empowering. Before I used to be like, man, brother Pastor Ray, you need to slow down on these competitions. You're like Kobe Bryant, all of them. But now, man, you know what I'm saying? People only say that because they're not winning. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that I was like, because I didn't train.
You know what? Let's just let this thing soak in for a little bit because this whole entire time for all these years we play, and you and Jarvis always be on me like, what kind of guy are you, Pastor? You're always trying to be competitive. You're always trying, what's wrong with you? You're so competitive. And I was like, in my mind, the entire time, I was like, man, these guys are hating on me because they're not competitors. But now you finally admit it, man. Thank you, man.
Hey, and just to clear it out, you got to remember, man, I came from Kafunga High School before there were winners. I was part of the Kafunga High School that we were just nothing but losers. So when you're so used to be losing in your whole entire life, when it comes to competition and game, losing wasn't nothing. But you know what, man, that's such a bad attitude. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying, if I probably went to some Juan or Leone at that time and be a part of a winning atmosphere at that time, maybe I probably would have been in the NFL. Who knows? But because I was so used to losing.
Oh man, I just use your past experiences to. It doesn't mean you stay like that. No, man, it's an opportunity for growth.
Like I said, that was before. Now it's a whole ball game. I got the Mamba mentality now, man. I'm all about winning. You know what I'm saying? I got a new life. I almost died. Maybe that old me died with the heart attack. You know what I'm saying? The minor heart attack.
And that's what the biblical principle is all about, is becoming a better person. Like, how can I better myself today than yesterday? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better wife? How can I be a better father? It's all about being a better, anytime you're given a decision, an opportunity to like waking up every morning, we say our prayers, thank you, Lord. But at the same time, you ask the question, how can I be better today than yesterday? Now you're consuming a lot because you don't smoke anymore. To me, that's a win, because you really cut down your cigarettes. But you're eating, that's all right, because listen, when I used to smoke back then, I don't know how long, back in 2008, 2009 was my last cigarette. I was like, start eating a lot too. So, but you know what? I rather eating than try to, like coughing every day and, waking up with a lot of mucus in your throat. And
it's expensive. Let's not forget about that. And now I think pack of cigarettes for the ones I was smoking was like almost $10. No, it was $10. Or was it $12? $12 a pack. And I smoke a pack a day. So a pack a day, $12, 14 days. Because out here in the US, it's either you get paid weekly or bi-weekly. So tell you, wasting a lot of money.
To live it out.
Can I ask you something? When did you start reading? When did you start? Because I remember you. I met you and you was already into reading, but it was like not that long ago. I used to hear stories about you, from my wife. Like, you used to get locked up, Pastor. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm trying to bring up your past. Is that all right if I bring that up?
I don't like talking about it, but that was just being immature at the time.
My question was, at what time? Because I feel like it wasn't that long ago that you started implementing reading into your...
And that's the thing about going to school, man. It makes you develop that habit of reading. I don't down talk education. Sometimes people say, well, all I need, I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot, from my own people, the community. They say, well, all I need is Jesus. That's all I need. Well,
I can attest to that. Correct.
Yeah. That's all I need. I don't need no school to tell me this, tell me that. I said, oftentimes Jesus tells you to go to school to educate yourself.
Hey, I mean, it's a good example. Our a certain group, and I'm just saying for the Polynesians or Samoan community, school is where it'll teach you like financial stuff, even
Yeah.
like managing, because we're not, the church doesn't teach you that.
Notice how our generation and the next generation is coming up right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Polynesians coming up right now. They're sitting on high places in organizations, presidents and VPs, and now they're becoming more quarterback and
Yes.
right. They're
Yes.
becoming more elites now, and
Yes.
they're receiver now. We have a receiver this year. And less on the on the linemen, but more now is
More now on all these smaller positions. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see, even a slow progress is still progress, right? Going forward. But all these, they didn't just go there out of just pure talents. They went with education.
Yes.
Right? They went with school. Anyone that's sitting on high places on organizations and let's say being a director, HR director, whatever director, presidents, it's because through education. And our people are paving and trail, blazing through new eras and new platforms because of education. And guess what? Those are trailblazers for the next generation. So the next generations will continue to carry on with the lineage. So if we continue to tell our people, hey, all you need is this and no education whatsoever, guess what? There's going to be a decline in number dropping from those elites, dropping from presidential and then directors. Why? Because people pay for what you value, because that's how the system is set. Who set the system? They set the system. But what we do, we level up to that system.
Now going back to add on to that, it's I don't think our parents for their generation, because all our parents' generation was all about getting us kids into school. They're big believers in that. And they were able with especially if you're graduating from American Samoa, there was a lot of great programs for kids to go to college at American Samoa and out here in America. The problem I feel like that we had at that time was our folks, our parents were not knowledgeable enough to teach us to how to handle college when we get into college. Because I feel like there's a lot of our Samoan kids who were even in our generation who went to college at that time that didn't, it was their first time because all we knew was back home doing chores and stuff like that, the church. And then when you come into America, it's the same with the military kids. Same thing with college. When we come out to America in this big country and the freedom that we have, it really messes with our kids. Like none of us were ready for it. Then we were venturing out, depending the crowd that you're in, that's how you're going to end up being. You know what I'm saying? And I'm only saying that is because I feel like our people lack the attention of educating our own children to prepping them for college. That's all I'm saying. Well, that's what from what I see, from at least of what I've seen. For my surrounding and my upbringing, I know that a lot of kids were able to go to college, and a lot of them didn't. Unfortunately, were like dropouts, or some of them had to take eight years to graduate just to get a bachelor's because of the fact that not used to living to being independent. Because in America, when you graduate from high school, your adult starts when you're in college. Now you get a little bit of taste of an adulthood. But our people,
but there's a lot of factors that comes with that too.
Yeah.
Factors as far as let's talk about. Well, I never down talk. No matter how long you're in school, you're still in school. If you graduate 10 years, spend 10 years. Well, that's a little bit too long. But as long as you graduate, any progress, half step forward is still a step forward to me. Those we still celebrate. But factors in as far as finance, right?
I think
Let's say
the finance.
right?
It's really the finance, yeah.
So when we come from the islands going into school to help educate the mind, we don't have the privilege the American people have as far as, hey, mommy and dad will pay your tuition off, right?
They already have that already planned. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that. We only have a tuna factory that gets us through college and say just go rack up student loans and
there you go. You got that now what I'm saying. Yep.
We don't. Those are some of the factors that causes us to deflate or try to withdraw from college, or it hinders us from finishing. There's a saying right there. Oftentimes, as islanders, people like the privileged ones are the ones that take the elevator up to the third floor. But the islanders, they take the stairways. They take a lot longer, but we'll get there.
Eventually get there.
Yeah, the illustration is there still, right? Why? Because there's factors that comes with it. Factors
or obstacles. Can you say obstacles in our way that causes us to get to the same?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have to factor in all the hindrances that causes us to slow down. But as long as we move forward, that's my emphasis. As long as you move forward, quarter step forward, half step forward, full step forward is better than just sitting right where you're at and not grow at all.
Oh, amen to that. I gotta say though, living out here, this is just me. Some of the stigma that I was feeling was for our culture or our race, the Polynesians. This is all the Polynesians all together. That we were pretty much bottom, like we didn't know any better. It's kind of like, we're just big bodies, and the say so at work is like, if you're a big body, that means you're an airhead. It's always like the little tiny ones or the brains in operation. That stigma I was so against, because I feel like, we're no difference from any other race. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of genius people that we have in our own people. There's a lot of people that are smart, that can put up. But I feel like, I don't know if you ever experienced that, because if you look at the work, structure when it comes to, at least this is just back when I want to say about a few years ago. I see Samoans. When you say Samoans, the main industry is what? Warehouse and retail, or even the airport. Labor work. When you talk about Polynesians, now it's changing because there's I think because of social media, and we're seeing a lot of our people are out there. They're doing podcasts. They're doing a lot of different things that normally you don't see islanders do. So I feel, and I'm only saying that it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's another reason why I wanted to have a podcast, to showcase that even us Polynesians have a voice. I'm tired of listening to other podcasts, because I do enjoy podcast stuff. I'm just tired of listening to other, race talk about a subject that I know that our own people can also have an intellectual conversation about too, So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, that's very true, man. I just think about some of the things you said about sometimes, when people plant stuff in your head, when people plant stuff, we are strong people, right? But you believe it. There are other strong races out there too.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But sometimes I feel like they plant that in your head so they can hire you to, and then we tend to buy into that ideology of, hey, we're strong people, let's work for, and then we love to go in the pack, and we're like so family oriented. Like if one goes to the airport, then the whole cousins go work at the airport.
Yes.
But little do we know that we are strong physically, but we're strong mentally as well.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes people don't mention that about us. Why they don't want to mention that? Because maybe it's a threat to them. Once we realize how much power we have, not only physically, but mentally as well. Because once you notice, when you sit in a meeting with all the other Samoans, that's why they call it in the Samoan language. I don't know if I can use the Samoan language here.
You can. I can always illustrate it in English. Yep.
Yeah. So in the Samoan language, when they meet like villagers, and it says, oftentimes they complicate things because they refer to Samoans as a culture of a fish with so many bones, with a lot of bones inside. What that means, they tend to look at every single area and every single perspective, so we begin to complicate things because we're so passionate about something. We go above and beyond. But I'll give you an example. We started off with just Lay's. Right now, I see someone, wearing a top ramen ula for graduation. We tend to come up with new ways, but we're going far and beyond. And we can't make things so simple. We always try to complicate. Why? Because we think like that.
Man,
we're creative. We're very creative.
Imagine if we have our hands on like technology like Elon Musk. Just Simon's period, like where we actually have like scientists who are able to like create our own motor, like our own engine to make something work. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be.
But that's interesting you say that, because when you were saying like a fish with so many bones in it, you pretty much were talking like the whyuce podcast. This is exactly the same thing. I'm probably the only podcast that has so many different levels of like of niche. You know what I'm saying? First it's like religion, then you have politics going on another episode.
I was gonna ask you that, but when I checked this out, I was like, man, we really need to focus on the one thing because we're everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's your style.
It is. It's like we're talking about one thing, but it then leads on to another thing.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
It's like a chop suey, right? Yeah. Not everyone are made for this kind of podcast, right? You're talking about all kinds of things,
and that's what I was getting at, man. I'm a believer in that, Pastor. That's why another reason why I wanted to have a platform for the whyuce, because I'm like, my brain thoughts, the way my brain thinks it tends to just travel. You know what I'm saying? It tends to like.
If you listen to a lot of podcast people out there, they have contents, right? Not only they have contents, but they have context.
So what do you mean?
They have content and context. Meaning they stick to one subject and they cover one subject, because if you try to cover all subject all at the same time, it's called disorganized, unorganized.
You know what? I ain't gonna take that out. I'm not even offended, Pastor. I love that you said that. Now maybe it might be a defense. It might be a counter of why I'm doing that, why I disagree.
Okay.
I look at it like you go to a black gospel church.
Right.
Now you see that a lot. The ministry of difference of a black worship and a white worship.
Yeah.
Worshiping God, right? Okay. But the content is still the same. At the end of the day, the blacks, they will go singing, go crazy. They will do all sorts of stuff. And it's amazing. Same with the whites. Whites' services only 1 hour. Black is going to take 3 hours. Same with Samoans. We're the same way. Some of Samoans ministry takes 3 hours. Some only takes an hour and a half, following that white mentality. I'm not saying that they're following. It's just people are built differently. Now, because of the way I am, that's why I feel like my content is different. Yes, you are right. There are a lot of the popular podcasts like Joe Rogan, Pat Bev sticks to one topic, and I'm all for that. But you know what? The beautiful thing about social media, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, I see.
You get what I'm saying, brother?
What I'm hearing is you don't want to take advice. That's what I'm hearing right now. Oh, I see. You see how I'm listening. And part of my work is I listen to people, man, and try to offer suggestions. Because, hey, and you notice, okay, let's just say for the sake of the conversation that we have.
Hey, don't get me wrong, man. I'm taking your advice, Pastor. Trust me. I am going to work on that. I'm only saying that just because that's how I've been flowing.
Yeah.
you know how it is.
For the sake of the conversation and arguments, let me just go back to the illustration you used. And the illustration you use is the black folks do their own thing. The white folks do their own thing, right?
Yeah.
You notice there's still, it's the same worship, but they're sticking to one thing. That's what they're good at. They're not, oh, this weekend we're gonna do the Hispanic style in the black community. No. They still stick to the black thing.
Oh, damn, you hit me. You hit me with, I must have got knocked out from you and Ben Jeezy to the earlier podcast, which I appreciate, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to go ahead and accept the defeat and be humble about it. You are absolutely correct, Pastor. It's just that whyuce is gonna be whyuce until I get a good host lines to stay, to be with whyuce to control the narrative. But you are absolutely correct, man.
Yeah,
you're absolutely correct. I'll take that.
I love that. That now I'm hearing somebody with the willingness to say, all right.
Actually, you know what? Let me take that back. Hold on. Let me take that back.
That was a wrong illustration.
That was a wrong illustration, bro. That was a wrong. I used the wrong kind of concept. It's just like this. Okay, I'm gonna use musician because I'm a musician. Now you have a pianist who can only play with notes.
Yeah.
Now they were brought up. It's a very tough way to learn how to play piano.
Right.
You have pianos like myself, who are the listeners that plays by listening. You know what I'm talking about because you play guitar, and you're a better person to by the ear, by the rhythm,
or by the chord.
By the chord. There's two different things. But guess what? It still brings out a fine-tuned music, doesn't it?
Okay. All right. Let's use that illustration.
There you go. That's mine.
Okay, let's use the same illustration.
Ooh, okay.
On that same illustration, I'm going to go back to my same for the argument purpose, for the purpose of arguing the same one content, one context. The different notes is different, you and me, different perspective, but it's the same subject, one subject, but different mentality, different perspective.
Oh, shoot. I thought I had you on that one. Ooh, talk about me again, y'all.
That music, it still plays the same song, but different notes.
You're right,
I'm a different note. I'm a C flat and you're a C minor. Or something like that.
But it's still the same song. It's still one song. Yeah. Okay. You're right, man. Hey, that's all right. I'll give you that, man. I'm gonna humbly say that you won this argument. The purpose of. There you go. I took an L. See. Maybe the next episode I'll take a W on that one, man. But this is
that's why it's good to have different minds on the platform because now it helps. All you see is from your point of view. Now I'm challenging your point of view from a different point of view. So now you're seeing my point of view.
So you're saying what you're saying is that's the reason why I only got 26 people in this world that listens to the whyuce that thinks like me. But what about the other billions that think like you, right? Stick to one thing.
That's why I say this. If you want to level up to the donors and stuff like that, then we need to start speaking some qualitative information that will draw the ear of a donor.
In other words, what you're saying is if you can't beat them, join them, right? If I can't beat y'all that likes to read books and like nerds, that I call y'all nerds, just join y'all. You know what I'm saying? Start reading books. Start becoming a nerd.
I've said this. I don't know if I shared this, but I said this about what P. Diddy said. Asked when what's his name?
Notorious B.I.G. Yep.
Notorious B.I.G. first came on P. Diddy and then they were making so much demos, right? So much episodes. Let's just use those words. So much episodes. So much demos.
Mixtapes. Mixtapes. Yep.
Yeah, they make so much mixtapes over and over and over. But P. Diddy wasn't looking for mixtapes.
Mixtape money. Yep.
Yeah. So P. Diddy stopped everything. And then asked B.I.G., are we going to continue making mixtapes or are we going to make a hit? Are we going to make a hit? Because the moment you say we're going to make a hit is when we spend time doing research. Sometimes, we're going to spend time doing some reading. Sometimes we're going to try to see things from a listener, from the donor's point of view and not just off the clock point of view. You know what I mean?
I like that, man. We're going to end our episode right here with that powerful reminder, coming from Pastor Sasa. And, before we close, man, I'm just going to say this, man. I love this episode, brother. You
I love it.
definitely, you know, hopefully I can be able to get some short clips going on with this one. I wish you was on the one that we were on earlier because I took your advice and we stuck with one topic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
I love it.
it's definitely a way to go. Although for myself as Puni Moa, I feel like I'm like I might be like Kanye West, you know what I'm saying? Who produces great music.
Now he's coming using another illustration.
I just misunderstood. I just feel like sometimes I'm just ahead of the curve. You know what I'm saying? By the time y'all get to my
You're
level,
not ahead of
it's already
the
anyways, Pastor, I try to use yeah, to our listener, this is what me and my brother we always get on the phone, just trying to see who's up, you know, who best the other. But today, Pastor has bested Puni Moa, man. You know, but also I don't want to take away from what you mentioned, man. Can you remind our viewers again the importance of you know, taking the knowledge, you know, that we receive and actually applying it, you know?
Yeah. I just want to let your viewers know that every time we get together, whether it's on the phone,
our viewers, let's get that correct.
Let's say this. You know, for the sake for our viewers, let me just say this. This is transformative love right here.
Yes.
It's a love on a whole nother level that your host and myself, when we get together, we love to clown on each other, but we love each other so deeply that we don't offend each other. We just love each other. That's how we do things. It's a whole nother. That's what you call agape love right there. It's unconditional love, man, right there. But man, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on your whyuce podcast.
There you go. There you go. Yes. And to the listeners, please leave a comment. Be kind and friendly to me because I know y'all gonna a lot of people.
Straight shot. Straight shot.
I'll take it like a man. Take it like a. Anyways, I'm your host, Puni Moa.
And I'm Sasa. I love you, man.
And we are out, baby.
I said